Hi, my name is Taylor Garcia, and this is Module 1 for EDL 850, which is School Law. A little bit about me. I am born and raised in Goddard, Kansas, which is just west of Wichita. I graduated from Kansas State University in May of 2016. I got my degree in elementary education. I married my husband, Daniel. He is my high school sweetheart. We have been together for 13 years now. We recently had a baby in April of 2020, right at the start of a pandemic, which I do not recommend if that is your first child. In my spare time, I like to spend time with my family, do anything outside. I love being outside, and we go to Table Rock Lake quite frequently. I work for USD 259, which is Wichita Public Schools. I've taught first and second grade. Next year, I will be teaching second grade. Everything kind of got shifted around because of the pandemic, and then kind of shifted again for this next school year. So I'll be teaching second grade. I teach at a school called Hyde Leadership and International Explorations Magnet Elementary School, which is quite a mouthful. I am a part of the building leadership there. I'm the teacher in charge there. I do leadership events. I'm in a lot of different leadership roles. I've been there. This will be my 6th year coming up, and it's like my little home away from home. I love being there and serving our families and our students that I get to work with every day. So diving into the content for this assignment, starting with the local level of government and their support for public schools. So each school district is run by a school board of officials who have either been elected or they can be appointed their position. I know that in USD 259, all the officials are elected. And then they are responsible for funding the other costs that are not covered by state and federal governments. Typically, it's a little less than half of the cost of what it is to run a school. And that money comes from local property taxes from the district, wherever that school may be. Moving into the state level, the state government chooses to delegate much of the authority to the local level officials, from what I gathered from the research, but they can reclaim that authority anytime they see fit if it is necessary. Common Core standards is a big thing that the state kind of took over and said that those were the standards that the state and all the schools in that state are expected to follow for all of the core subjects. And then for the state of Kansas, I know that they have designed their own set of standards for other subjects like art and social studies, foreign language, science, things like that. They are designed by the state and supposed to be implemented by the school districts. On average, states provide a little bit less than half of the cost to fund publicly run schools, and this can vary from state to state. For the federal level, it is noted, I took this quote because this was something I really did not know. I already learned a lot from this first assignment, but it says, please note that in the U.S., federal role in education is limited because of the 10th Amendment. Most education policy is decided at the state and local levels, and the 10th Amendment says that anything that was not delegated in the Constitution is left to state and local level officials. So Congress will set aside about 10% of what it costs to fund government ran schools, which are public schools that comply with federal education reform. So an example that I read through my research was like the No Child Left Behind Act. Schools don't have to follow that, but if they choose not to follow it, they're choosing not to receive federal funding. So many states and many schools and school districts do follow that so that they can receive that federal funding. Who is in charge of the various levels of government? So these are like the specific people who are in charge of things. Sorry, I'm going to move my picture around so it's not covering my text. So the local level is technically the most powerful. They have the most authority, unless the state kind of overrides them. So I did the local level for the district that I work in. Our superintendent is Dr. Alicia Thompson. She is in a paid position as our superintendent. And then our Board of Education members, we have seven. That is a volunteer position. They are elected officials through local elections. And then Dr. Thompson, her duties and responsibilities are to run our district through her leadership, through her presence. She's kind of a spokesperson for the district officials, teachers, principals. That is her role, as running our district. And then Board of Education members, their duties and responsibilities are attending the monthly or even then more frequently meetings to approve changes that are proposed by the district, such as schedules, different curriculum implementation, approving the budget, things like that. And Dr. Thompson also attends all of those meetings as the spokesperson for the district, and she works with them very closely to help them make their decisions. At the state level, we have 10 Board of Education members and then one commissioner. Our state commissioner is Dr. Randy Watson. These are elected officials, and their duties and responsibilities include serving on different committees and task forces. So, a lot of when I was kind of researching about their positions, a lot of them serve on a lot of different committees. And then those committees meet with district officials throughout the state, and then they come back and kind of report back to the state board. And then they are making decisions about funding for different local levels, and then being at those meetings. And like I said, serving on those task forces and all those different committees. At the federal level, our current United States Secretary of Education is Miguel Cardona. He was just appointed recently, March of 2021, by our President Joe Biden. One of his biggest roles, and their role at the federal level, is making sure policies are being implemented, approving new policies, making changes to policies that are existing, and then oversight for funding that is provided to the states. And that is also a paid position for him. That is his job. So we're going to start with component 6.1. Evaluate, develop, and implement management, communication technology, school level governance, and operation systems that support each student's learning needs and promote the mission and vision of the school. I said the level that has the most influence with that would be the local level of government. These officials are very busy. This is a volunteer for them, but they are the people who are trying to oversee the big picture of a district. And they come into, I know in Wichita, they come into our buildings quite frequently to see what we're doing, see the work that we are doing firsthand. They have the best insight into communication, technology, school levels, and then our mission and vision statements align with our district, so they're able to communicate that through their work with all the schools individually. For 6.2, evaluate, develop, and advocate for a data-informed and equitable resourcing plan that supports school improvement and student development. I said the most influence on this was the state government. One of their main responsibilities is to review the data that districts are providing, and they can use that data to create plans for resources that they will share and implement with the districts within the state. And they should, or they are, doing what is best to benefit schools, the students within those schools, the principals, the teachers, everyone involved. Their job is to do what is best for all parties involved. And then for 6.3, reflectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, policies, and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. I also said that I thought the state level of government had the most influence on this. They possess the right to pass their own laws in relation to education. So each state can have their own laws about education, whatever that might be. And they can do that based on the data they receive from districts. So if districts are sending in data that they collect about student well-being and their emotional well-being, their physical well-being, all those kinds of things, if they see a trend in that data, they can pass a law or a policy or put a regulation in place to make sure that everybody is successful and everybody is being thought of about their own well-being. Supporting the educational success of students and well-being of adults. All of this information supports that because all the different levels of government, whether it's the local, which has a lot of authority, then the state, then the federal, they all kind of trickle down. And their main goal should be to do what is best for schools. I think one of the best things that all the levels of government do by providing funding is letting schools use that funding in a way that they see fit. Every school is different. Every school has students with different needs, has educators with different needs, and schools having the ability, obviously, they don't have complete free reign of how they're going to spend all that money, but they can use that money the way they see fit. So if they are in a school with a lot of students who have a physical disability, they can spend their resources on things that are necessary for them, which might not be the same as a school full of students who their physical well-being is great, but emotionally, their well-being, they need to be spending more time in some sort of emotional curriculum. So, allowing schools to use that money in a way that they see fit to best serve their students is one of the best ways to have student success and well being of everybody. So, for my conclusion, my wrap up, my course learning outcome correlation, this assignment demonstrated correlation to all three of the course learning outcomes because they were all about improving schools, student success, and well being of everybody. One of the biggest responsibilities of all these levels of government, like I've said before, is to support schools and give them what they need so that teachers can be successful, teachers are successfully teaching students, and those students are now being successful. So whether that support comes through a funding, whether it comes through a resource that we're given, whether it comes through a policy that's put into place, they all have the same end in mind in wanting students and staff members and all people involved to be successful, and their well-being is being kept in mind. For the relevance, I said that this assignment was relevant to my learning because I really never knew where all of the funding came from. Now that I know how schools earn funding, why they earn funding, I think it'll help me change my thought process as a teacher and as a future leader of, is this something that I want or is this something that I need? Because those two things are very different. And I think that this improved my understanding of those three levels because, like I said, I didn't really know how involved the federal government was, how involved the state government was. But now that I know that, I can think about that moving forward in the decisions that I'm making as a teacher and then in the future as an educational leader. And then my reflection, looking forward, I think this assignment is going to change the way I teach, knowing how much of an impact and an influence comes from the local level of government. I didn't know that they had as much power as they do. And as a school leader, I think this is going to have a really good impact on me and my decision making because one thing I have already started to do, but I will continue to do as a leader in the future, is pay a lot more attention to my board of education, when their meetings are, what things they're talking about, the decisions they're making, um, and knowing that I need to use my voice as somebody who wants to make a difference in education. So if there's something that I see that I don't agree with, or I'm thankful that they did something, or I'm concerned about a decision that they've made, I'm going to use my voice to reach out to my local level officials. Because I can't sit back and not say anything and just complain about everything that's going on around me if I'm not really using my voice and staying up to date and staying involved on all the decisions that are made. If I know what's going on, I can make an informed decision. I can make an informed point of contact with a local level official, and hopefully my voice will make a difference in education the way that I want it to and leave a positive impact. And then these were some of the references that I used throughout this assignment. Thank you so much for watching my video for Module 1, and I can't wait for the rest of this course. Bye.